Hey, WokeNFree Nation, Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 279th episode of WokeNFree. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I believe it.
Happy New Year, y'all. We are starting off the new year with a bang. And if you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are discussing top 10 life lessons to apply in 2023. Woohoo! So before we dive deep into this fun subject, a couple of things to go over. First, have you downloaded the episode on WokeNFree.com? Because you don't want to just listen. We definitely appreciate every listen, but every download is important, and you can download it through the Podbean app. If you have the app, then you can put in your comments, and you can join in the conversation. So it's not just a one-way street, but it's a two-way street of conversation, and lots to be heard and said alike. Now, of course, if you listen to podcasts on a device where you cannot download the Podbean app, for instance, then what you can do to support the show is go to WokeNFree.com, woohoo, and then go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to the show. So we are on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Samsung Podcast. Where podcasts are consumed, pretty much you're going to find WokeNFree there. So make sure you do that. Now, on WokeNFree.com, you can also click and subscribe to follow the show through the Podbean app, which is really fun as well. And on social, if you ever want to engage, follow and follow our content and like what we share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn, you can find us at WokeNFree. And then lastly, if you have 90 seconds, which is more of a statement, less of a question, you can give us a review. How? Go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to review the show at. So now, with that, Khalil, I'm going to kick it to you.
And before we start this new conversation for the new year, we're going to do what we usually do and share a little bit about ourselves. This week, we are asking, would you rather have a personal maid or a personal chef?
So we're starting the year off with more pointlessness. Love it.
Really?
So
this tells a lot about the individual, though.
I guess.
What kind of person they are at heart.
All right. So for me, I would say personal maid because I would rather cook than clean. And when I cook, I do make a mess, and I would love for someone else to clean that up. So I would choose to have the maid over the chef. But in a perfect world, I would actually want both.
Okay. I mean, I think a lot of people would go for both if they have the choice. But I agree with you. I'm going to go with the maid because I can cook myself if I have to. But cleaning is very hard when you have a child. So that's why the maid would definitely be helpful. I think if you're single and you have just a small area to clean, it's easy. But and then you probably might want the personal chef because then they can just take care of your foods and you can clean up easy. But I think if you have a house and it's a certain size, you're just going to want the maid to just take care of that. And you have kids, that's the easy way to go. So I do that. I would miss the chef though, because the chef could cook up some nice stuff. And that's just that's a little mess. That's why in the ideal world, definitely both.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we should kick things into gear and start asking or answering the question, which is essentially...
That's your sloppy transition?
Well, I wasn't
for
trying to be neat
2023?
or sloppy. I was just trying to transition.
Oh, okay. I see. So it had no connection to the previous discussion. Okay.
No, I'm not as cheesy as you. Yeah, so I'm just going to jump right in.
Okay. If you say so.
With that, since we're talking about top 10 life lessons to apply in 2023, since there's two of us, then I figure we should break it 5 a person. And so what are going to be my top 5 are as follows. Number 1, psychological safety is both needed personally and professionally. And I say this because it is a new year. And as people are going back into the swing of their job or they're starting a new opportunity, we cannot deny the importance and the necessity of psychological safety. Without it, you feel unsafe in your mind, and then it becomes literally impossible to live authentically how you want. So if you think about it from that perspective, you're going to need that in a work environment where you're going to want to feel empowered to thrive, and it isn't really optional. And then also personally, you need to, as you like to say, be safe in your home. You need to feel mentally safe too, right? You need to have a safe space wherever you are, personally and professionally. So if you're having conversations with people in this new year and they're making you feel worse off than before you spoke with them, that means there's a clear indication, that's a red flag, that you do not have psychological safety. And it's a new year. It's not new year, new you. It's more new year, new opportunities, new advantages, new spaces to exist where you do not bring in the garbage from last year or previous years into this new space. So there you go.
I mean, as you said, it's needed, but isn't it just wanted? Kind of thing, like you would want that to happen, but I don't know if you can get it professionally. Or are you saying if you can't get it professionally, look for some place you can? And then remove people from your life that won't give you the safety? Are you saying that?
I mean, it's like you're reading my mind. I think that constitutes a psychological safety right there.
Wow.
So thank you for that.
So you go that route.
I would say it's not always leave, but it also could be creating the opportunity for you to develop that. So if you are in a work environment where you don't necessarily feel like you have that, then what are some things that you could take, actions that you could take that could start to create that for yourself? And if there is no end or no opportunity, then you got to do what you got to do. But it's not always leave is the first thing, try to create what you're missing. And if you can't, then move on.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, ask yourself if you're happy. So this is not a question that you should just be asking yourself at the beginning of the year. This is something that you need to put into application throughout the year. And definitely at the end of the year as well, because as we've ended 2022, we're in 2023. I myself am going on my own personal happy journey, and I can definitely attest that there's work to be done. There's definitely an opportunity for growth and development and better understanding of what it means to be happy personally, not just, what it means to derive happiness through action or outcome, but what does it mean to sit with self and actually feel happy? And what are your different happy levels? And what are the things that feed into your happiness versus what are the things that detract from it? So definitely that would be number 2 to put into application this year. Asking yourself if you're happy throughout the year, not just the beginning, not just the middle, and not just the end.
And then, well, one of my tips is, I tell you all the time, it goes about everything, and I hope the WokeNFree Nation knows this, is that you don't want to be too happy, right? All the time.
Why are you so negative?
Can't be too happy in life, because then it's boring.
If that's your testimony, then that's a sad
then it's
testimony.
boring. But no, it's good, as most people don't try for that, so it's okay. But I'm just saying, careful if you get on that cloud 9 and you're stuck, and you're just always happy, and then people will say, guess what they'll catch you with? Toxic lovey.
Toxic love you.
Toxic lovey. I don't know what it's called.
Toxic positivity.
Oh, okay.
You fool.
I knew it was something that was good.
Love you. I cannot. Oh my goodness.
So that's the thing that can come of it.
Okay.
In some people's mind, at least.
All right. Number 3 would be understand and continuously put into application this understanding of the difference between being alone and lonely. So I spend quite a bit of time by myself because if I'm not helping you with baby, I am working around the clock. I am a workaholic for sure. And being by yourself doesn't always mean that you have to be lonely, right? But that you could be alone. And whenever you are going into spaces where those two things are conflating or are confusing to you, it's time for you to, again, take a step back. That's the action that you would put into 2023 and figure out what are you feeling, why are you feeling it, and what can you do to rectify it? Because being alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. And if you are feeling lonely when you are alone or when you are in the middle of a crowd or amongst people, that's an opportunity, again, to get with self and to figure out what is really going on with you and how you can make things better, because it's a new year. And so it's an opportunity, again, to tweak and to learn and to grow. So there's that. Number 4, finances matter more now than ever, as we are getting into an interesting period in our economics or economy of this, at least from the United States perspective.
It's a worldwide thing.
Okay, there you go. So globally. Now more than ever to put into application would be a deeper understanding of your finances, as well as a deeper understanding of ways to make more money, to grow your money, to save money, anything finance related. This is the year, if any, to try to get that together for yourself. So if you, again, put in what is the action would be identifying ways for you to save more money, identifying ways for you to make more money, identifying ways for you to make your money go work better for you. So those would be the 3 arenas that I think makes most sense. And from our perspective, we can definitely attest to the fact that having a baby is expensive. It's going to add to your food bill. It's going to add to your the household bill, clothing bill, any bill you can imagine. The kid is adding to it, or kids are adding to it. So how you, the better knowledge you have around your own finances and your own good spending, bad spending, ways to make more money, ways to save money, it's only going to further your financial well-being for this year and beyond. And then number 5 with a bang would be, there's no perfect time to start working on something new. So a lot of people, I would say, that I have either seen professionally or through, entrepreneurship and beyond, is the idea that people are always looking for this perfect time to write a new book or to start a new business or looking to make some big move in their life. And there's never going to be a perfect time. And if that is in question for you in this new year, this is your sign by you listening to this episode that the time to start something new is now. Now, do you have to go, does the end date or the end goal that you're trying to achieve have to happen this year? No, it doesn't have to happen this year. But the planning for what you want that is new has to begin now. Do not wait to plan for something in the future. Start the plan now. Create milestones that you're going to hit and keep going. And again, you're not in any competition with anyone else other than yourself. So the end result you may not achieve till 2024 or beyond, or maybe this year. But the point is, the planning must begin now. The intention must be set now. There you go.
Okay. That was definitely, you learned a lot. And I guess you had even more lessons that you could have shared.
Yeah.
What you were hinting at.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I learned that many lessons, to be honest. I think 5 is, that's my max of lessons I can think of off the top of my head.
I think this is a new year, and I think that the 5 I shared is going to be most helpful for people as they're thinking about their career as well as their professional and personal growth. Okay.
So my first lesson that I learned and that I want to apply these lessons this year, definitely. I'm going to work on doing it. It's going to be hard, but this first one's really tough. And it's that sleep is not for the weak.
Oh, my favorite phrase.
All my life, I've been taught that sleeping is, if you're sleeping, that's the cousin of death. That's from a Nas song. And everybody has said, sleeping is bad. I've heard that it's you're not getting work done.
Sounds like that's
you're being lazy, kind of that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've heard. I rarely hear that you need sleep to get your health up. I mean, only in terms of a doctor would say that. Yeah. Just speaking like that, but just generally speaking about sleeping, you sleep that long? you don't do anything. You know, it just makes you seem like you're lazy, but it's not true. You definitely need your sleep, and that's how you're going to stay recharged. That's how you can focus and make sure you get stuff done, because otherwise you're going to be walking around like foggy brained. You don't want to do that. So this year I definitely want to work on that. My second one is a health-based one, and that's stay active. And you don't realize it, but the more active you are, the more energy you'll actually have, even if you're exhausted from whatever that activity was. So it could just be taking like regular walks. That's a good thing. It's good to just do something and not to say, you know what, I'm going to bury my head in my computer and just keep on working. You got to just take the break and say, I got to do something
work
that's
on your body,
more physical. So do that. It'll keep your energy up, and you know, you'll be able to get more work done actually, instead of maybe taking longer. So combine that with that first lesson. Those are definitely some good ones. The other one is I learned that money comes easily and freely. Because sometimes you think it doesn't, and it actually does. You just got to know that it's going to be coming, like, either way. And because money can come from different sources. It doesn't just have to come from a 9 to 5. You can have a side hustle. You can have other little things you reach out to do. So
absolutely,
it's something to definitely keep in mind.
So is that an encouragement to apply the law of attraction and as a principle there?
It's definitely based on the law of attraction, since that they tell you about that mantra. So that's one. My next thing is that the economy is a roller coaster. I mean, I kind of knew this, like I've learned that before, but now experiencing it, like in recent times, it's good to know, because we were at a big high for a while, and now we've been crashing down for a little bit. But it's just good to know that it's going to go right back up. It's not. This isn't it. It's going to go up. Now, you know. I mean, I this is not a life lesson, but I just hope people didn't invest in too many cryptocurrencies, because we don't know how that roller coaster ride works. Like, we don't know much about that, but the economy as a whole, it will bounce back. I can't speak to crypto though. That's different, guys.
It's a different beast. Yeah,
that's a little different. So, yeah,
one would hope though it is going to mirror the regular economic trends.
Right now it usually is mirroring. It wasn't supposed to, but right now it does seem to mirror the general economy as a whole.
So if that's the case, it should hopefully.
You guys might be okay. Whoever's like heavily invested in it, you might be okay eventually. The last number 5 is don't let others make decisions for you, especially the media, because I don't know, this has happened too much. I know we've had an episode on the media, but there's too many times where the media, they tell you about somebody and an action that they did, and they tell you how you should feel about them. And don't do that. Like that, don't fall for it. You need to go to find the source, find what happened, and you decide like, all right, I see that's what happened. I don't like people trying to tell me how to think. That's just not cool. And I don't like that other people are being taught that, because I think that's why, at least in the U.S., we have this big split, because people watch their source, somebody watches another source, and they're telling you two different things, and everybody's just believing them sources instead of saying, wait, let me think about this for myself. No one's doing that. They're just saying, all right, they said it, I agree. Let me just go with that. So don't let other people make decisions for you. And this goes personally, too. The
action is don't be intellectually lazy. Because I think a part of it is laziness, right? Maybe it's a lot easier to consume something and just take that as gospel, as opposed to going and saying, oh, I'm going to have to go and research this in 5 other places, right? That takes effort. That takes time. It's just easier to consume and then regurgitate, as opposed to like doing your own due diligence.
Because it's even like goes down to there's people that pass on this myth about electric cars, and they try to say, "Oh, electric cars, making it is more harmful than gasoline."
They come for the electric car.
Guys, if we look at the life of the vehicle, no, it's not. I mean, there are heavy metals that are refined. That's not great. What goes into doing that, but pumping out pollution from your car every day is not great. And over the lifespan of the vehicle, the gasoline
going to ruin the planet.
The gasoline car is still worse than the electric vehicle. So
1,000%.
People just need to stop doing that. And the problem is people see that and they try to just
share.
They just reshare it, and they don't go and do their due diligence. Like, is this real?
It takes effort to do that.
And so they just say, you know what? I hate them newfangled things.
Yeah.
So
really, I mean, this is a business idea, but really, when you see, like, for instance, like, so many people get their news through, like, Facebook or certain social media platforms, it would be great if there was kind of like what they do during the political season where they do the fact checker. It'd be cool if there was, like, an automatic fact checker or resource checker whenever you saw articles. If, like, before you share it, you could click a button that says, want to see more things like this, or is this true, right? And then it gave you, like, 3 other articles instantly, as opposed to you trying to identify what those sources are. Because it's one thing to tell people to do their due diligence, but what does that in practice mean?
Yeah, what do they have to do to do it?
I mean, it depends.
It's a lot of work, because even
for
me, I mean, those, like, I had to jump through hoops to find out what's really happening, because
so it'd be kind of cool to have some type of tool that
available.
Like, you could run your social media through it, like, it like, you know, gave you that way. Again, it's at the fingertips and you're sitting there. And so, and if that tool does exist, and I'm not particularly innovative, then please put that in the comments and let us know.
The fact check extension for your browser?
Yeah, for your browser and through your social media. It would have to have an API, I guess, integration into your Facebook.
I don't know how this would work with social media. I mean,
but that would be a really great way to get people to kind of get out of that intellectual laziness dilemma.
Yeah, that would definitely help.
You're now listening to WokeNFree.
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 A podcast that keeps it real and keeps it honest.
Interesting.
That's mine, yeah.
Those are your... Okay, well, I like those because, again, it's simple and it's not going to make it more cumbersome to apply for this new year. And it's definitely going to help people. And I love that we both honed in on finance for this year, because I really do feel like more than ever with so many people losing their jobs from last year, like, finances, guys, we have to get really serious about that. And with that, I'd love for you to share, and I have a couple of thoughts on this as well. Why is it important to identify, especially in the beginning of a new year, life lessons that should be applied?
Well, I think this is kind of like the reason that history is taught, is you don't want to keep making the same mistakes unless you want to become the definition of insanity, right? Is to keep doing the same thing and you keep having that same outcome, and then you say, I wish that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So to avoid those pitfalls, I think the best thing to do is to think about lessons of what can you do in the next year to, not fall into those same traps. Or you don't even have to think about it from that. Like, where do you want to be at, right? So you apply these lessons so that you'll be at the place you need to be next year, wherever it is. I mean, I don't know, maybe you just want to move, right? And so how do you get there? You think of the lessons you learned last year and say, all right, I was in the same place because I didn't have enough money or something. Maybe I have to look into alternative forms of income or getting a gig job, stuff like that. Just, that's what I think you definitely need to identify life lessons. And it's probably even better than just having like a New Year's resolution, because I don't know, resolutions, people just drop that, right? They just say,
within like the first week
I'm going to do this, but then you just don't do it, and then that's it, right? But if you have lessons that you learn from, at least you can say, well, I learned this, so I'm going to apply this now, and I'll be a better person for it, and I'll be able to get what I want. So I think it's definitely something everybody should do. And vision boarding helps with that as well. It can't help with that.
That's why we always get that started on the first of the year. For us, it is a way of being able to set the intention and kind of get things going there. And so to piggyback off what you're saying, I think it's important to identify new life lessons that you should apply for the new year for 3 primary reasons. First, the universe teaches us something every single day. Every single day. So if you refuse to identify the lessons that you've learned from last year or years prior to be able to apply them for the new year, then you are then faced with reliving the same life situations over and over and over again until you apply that lesson, because the universe is very funny and it's also very petty in that regard, because it's like, hey, I've shared the lesson with you. Oh, you still aren't getting it? Cool. I'm going to keep doing this over and over again. And if you're anything like us, then a redundant life does not sound entertaining or interesting at all. It sounds actually quite frustrating. So learn the lesson, identify the lesson, learn it, apply it, and keep moving, right? And that way you can experience new things and you're not like, why do I keep having this situation? Why does this, again, those types of questions, those types of queries go away.
But you admitted it right there. So you kind of, I think you set yourself up for the trap. You said a redundant life is not something that you want to live. What if you're redundantly happy? See, that's what I'm telling you. You can't be too happy because you just said it gets redundant.
No, well, happiness doesn't mean perfection, right? And so you can still be happy with, quite a bit of drama in your life. You can still be happy with quite a bit
but
of
that doesn't
issues.
get redundant being happy every day.
I
said
that's
day,
a really interesting question.
I could say hour or whatever. I don't know.
I think experiencing happiness every day is a form of redundancy, but I don't think people would have qualms with it unless happiness offends you. And if that's for, it
definitely can offend some people.
It can offend
especially
some people,
depending what's going on in your life, though, right?
I'm not a Grinch. I love the character, but I'm not the Grinch. So I can't, and I'm not able to process that right now. However,
but you should understand why he has so much fun being the Grinch.
Oh,
the Grinch has so much fun. Yes, he enjoys being the Grinch. That's the whole point.
Exactly, but he does turn around and his
yes,
little
because
heart
guess
grows.
why again? Because it's redundancy. He was redundantly being mean every day.
Yeah.
That's boring too. So that's why you can't do either or.
I don't think you can say you can't experience happiness every day.
You can do that.
But what I'm saying is that for people who are experiencing lack of happiness or more misery every day, I think they would be interested in changing that narrative. And so that's where that speaks to more.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop coming for happiness, you Grinch. Second reason is starting a new year doesn't automatically make you a new person. You don't just wake up like, oh, and you're evolved and you're like this new, no.
Going around the sun once doesn't change you at all?
Child, please.
But there's some change, right?
There is some change, like maybe you need to change your sheets of your bed.
Your sheets, okay.
But at the end of the day, for you to evolve and to grow means you have to put work in. And thus the need and the importance of identifying life lessons you've learned from years prior to make sure that this new year is a new opportunity for you to have change physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. And through that self-reflection you're making is how you're able to make those changes in your life on a long-term scale. And then third reason is it's a blessing to be alive. If you had the opportunity, and yes, I say opportunity because I mean it. There's some people that we lost in 2022 that would give anything to be here with us in 2023. So you're here, you're winning already. It's a win. Like take the W. But, with that blessing comes responsibility. And that responsibility, again, is the opportunity to better understand what went well in years prior, what are areas of opportunity to grow, and appreciate it all. Appreciate the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And that's how you're going to make the most out of 2023.
Agreed.
Nice. And I like the delay. It was like you were contemplating. You really were like the Grinch right there. You wanted to be like, they knew their possibilities.
I wasn't sure. I had to let it had to soak in,
I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah, I had to soak it in my black cauldron.
Yeah, in your black heart, right?
No, not heart.
Well,
it's a cauldron.
It's a joke that you have one, yes.
I told you things could be emulated and simulated as possible. Things can be great as needed. I think
shout out to
there
Jim
can be lab grown
Carrey
hearts
and
too.
his wonderful performance as the Grinch. Oh man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Indrajit decided to not make New Year's resolutions because he usually forgets about them anyway. Is there something else he can do to try to stick to goals for the new year?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I've heard that before. So, because the typical narrative is people are like, New Year, here are my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
But what you could do, if you didn't want to necessarily do that, it doesn't mean you are the Grinch. It does mean that you are maybe being more intentional and more honest with yourself. So applause for that. And I would say, even if you don't do New Year's resolutions, to make sure that you're going to get what you want in 2023 or the new year, is to sit down with self and give yourself some time to reflect, probably, if you're like me, then a nice little journal, or whether that's physical or online, and sit down and what were the top 5 things that happened to you last year? What were the top 5 areas of opportunity.
You can get a tablet too.
Yeah, correct. And then what I would say, as opposed to resolutions, what would be your intentions to grow in the new year, in the upcoming year? That's kind of how you can think about it. It doesn't have to be about a resolution, but it's more about like, what are the things that you want out of the new year? And that is going to be something that's probably going to combine the good of the previous year or years, and then also the areas of growth that you've identified. So it's still, he still could sit down and do self-reflection and start to enjoy that process of making the most of the new year.
I think what he can do, it's extreme, but I
Play
still
Fortnite.
think it's, I mean, that could be one of his goals, to try to, be the Fortnite champ. I don't know what they call it.
Get it.
I don't know enough about Fortnite. I only played it a few times, but
okay.
What he could do, I don't think you're going to like it, but he can actually tell other people what his goals are and make them, come down on him. Yeah, make them come down on him for not accomplishing it.
You're assuming that he has people in his life that would do that, but yes.
If they're not, you can pay people to do it, I think.
And you're assuming that he has the intention to do that, but sure.
I'm giving him an option how you can stick to a goal.
How he can spend money, yeah.
And then what you can say is, if I don't do this action, if I don't complete these goals by the time that I told you, then I have to pay you double what I already paid you. For the people, if you paid them to, remind you of the goals.
Sounds like a financial unfortunate situation.
So there's some, expediency in getting these goals done, because you don't want to financially hurt yourself. But if he has people in his life, then he doesn't have to pay them. He can just tell them,
and for people,
hey, you know what? I have to eat my worst food.
Don't know anyone, then your recommendation is just, again, hire strangers.
That's why. So if you hire people, what you do is you first got to pay them. And then the second thing you do is you tell them, if I don't reach these goals, you get double. But don't try to prevent me to reach my goals, because then you're not getting anything. So you do have to put that as a disclaimer, because some people might try to swindle you. So don't let them do that. But it's just try to get people in your life.
Swindle.
Yeah. Because look, if you get people in your life, here's what happens. They force you to eat the food that you hate if you don't get to your goal.
You and your okra, get away from me.
How did you know? How did you know that he hates that? How did you know that?
Because everyone hates okra.
So see, mine is more extreme, but it is a way to stick to your goal. To have somebody else hold you accountable. Scenario 2. Jane Saka was told she posts too much by her friends. They say she should be more thoughtful with her posts. Would it make sense for her to create a top 10 wrap-up post for the end of the year?
Oh, that's interesting. That combines a couple of things there. So, Jane Saka is someone who is prolific on social media, and apparently her friends are taking offense or are trying to give her unsolicited advice, which we've spoken to on this show.
But is it unsolicited advice, or do they think they're being offended by her actions? It's kind of like if someone throws snowballs at you and then you tell them, please stop throwing snowballs. How's that unsolicited?
Well, posts on social media is not just for her friends, right? That's a public posting. So that's...
Even if they're painful.
I mean, it's a public posting.
Oh, okay.
And so, you can unfollow, you can unsubscribe, you can remove yourself from the viewing and the recipient, being the recipient end of that snowball, but you cannot tell people not to throw snow in their own backyard, right? And that's how kind of I view social media, that like, you have a house and you're putting stuff around your house, and so as long as it's not violating the terms of real estate as a principle, right?
What if you fill it with horse manure on top of the snow?
And if it's in your backyard, it's your backyard.
See,
and if you want to dabble in feces, that's your business.
Something stinky about that situation.
Yeah, it is what it is. So,
okay.
And technically, I would still say that constitutes as unsolicited advice. No one asked for nobody's, thoughts on her post. And so, if she values her friends' comments or statements, then she will censor herself. And we're not a fan of censorship here. But I would say that ultimately, wrap-up posts are just a good content piece anyway, so she probably should do it to answer the question, but she should only be doing it if that's the type of content she's interested in creating. If she prefers to have 10 separate different posts as opposed to one post wrapping up her 10 things, then that's her business, but I don't think she should follow the advice of her friends just because they feel a certain kind of way about her content. As a content creator, you need to do what's authentic to you, not what feels good to other people. It's about what you want to do, how you're reaching your audience, and the type of impact you're making, not what your friends agree or disagree with.
Okay. So, for the question, I think I would agree that she definitely should do her top 10 wrap-up post. If she feels like she wants to do it, just do it. I don't see why not. But in terms of her friends talking about how her posts aren't thoughtful, I would say, let's look at these friends, because if these friends are influencers, then I think you may want to take that into mind. Maybe it is actually sound advice, but if they have kind of like the same amount of followers as you do, then I think you can just throw everything they said in the trash. But if they have, 5 million more followers than you, then you might want to take that to heart. You might want to say, maybe, I could do some things different. But if you don't want to be anything like them, again, even if they're influencers and you don't want to be influenced, you just want to post stuff and do what you want, you should do it, because that's what social media is about. You're supposed to be kind of free. You shouldn't have to hold back just because your friends told you to. It depends what she's going for. We don't know if she's...
It's all about the intention.
What she's trying to be.
And also what her audience needs, right? Again,
is.
Who you're speaking to is very much the driving force of your content. So unless her friends are a part of that audience she's trying to reach, then their advice could be not very helpful.
That's true, too. Yeah, take that into mind. Scenario 3. Laurel always goes out for New Year's Eve, and she always overindulges. It takes her 3 months to fully recover from her expedition. So, this year she decided to not go out at all. Do you think this was a good decision?
What is she doing that it takes 3 months to recover? I'm so terrified of what that notion what do you suggest?
It's a long night.
I mean,
you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, right?
What kind of drugs could...
Anybody who's seen a Wolf of Wall Street understands what she goes through.
Quaaludes? For the love of God!
Just a couple. I mean, she's doing different stuff.
She would have to be
taking cocktails.
59.
She's taking cocktails. It's New Year's.
She's going into a coma at the end of this.
She's doing cocktails. It's fun. That's
a cocktail of Quaaludes.
Well, we don't know. There's even more stuff out there.
That is absurd.
Yeah. She's trying to do it up, trying to end the year right.
She's trying to end her life. That's what that's...
She's trying to reach that everlasting happiness. Yeah, because she's trying to reach the everlasting happiness that I'm telling you.
That Quaaludes up.
Yeah, see,
you're a
that's why
you are a bad.
There's another problem that could happen with Forever Happy.
For you,
because people try to be forever happy. That sounds like
is
that a movie?
And free Grinch. That's what you are.
Is that a movie, Forever Happy, or no? It sounds like that should be a movie. It's not?
Maybe it's the movie you'll write, my dear.
Wow, it just sounds so right. I mean, I don't know if it is. You saying it
in this context just is going to make me think this is a movie about Quaaludes.
It's going to be about this specific scenario.
Someone literally partying till they nearly end their life. That is horrible.
No, but what happens in the movie is they actually just stay happy for 3 months, and then they have to recover for 3 months. So it's off and on, off and on. That's what
Stop coming for happiness. Doesn't make
Forever
sense.
Happy. Come on.
So I would say Laurel needs to really think about her life choices, because I believe that any type of party that requires 3 months recovery is...
You're laughing at that. This is rough.
Really, just that's a lot to process, and I'm not quite sure what's being suggested. So I would argue that if the idea was to make 2023 a much more calmer year and not going out, I think that sounds fabulous, because it sounds like in previous years she was really losing. It sounds like she's really only getting 9 months out of the year, because she's taking out for the count for 3. So that's just too much time to give up. You don't want to. Life is short. You don't want to be giving up a quarter of every year because you're trying to recover from one evening.
Really?
The perspective is gone.
Even if it's a really great evening? Wow. You don't think 3 months is equal to 1 day? Okay. No. Even if it was a really good day.
No. Absolutely.
Good evening. It was a nice evening.
What are you suggesting?
It's a nice evening, though. But...
No.
Oh, okay. Wow, you're thinking.
So I think that not going out sounds like a very good decision, but that doesn't mean that it has to be an evil or horrid night. You can have wonderful takeout food. You could make your own food. You could have a drink if you're a person who indulges in alcohol, or if you're on a diet, then have some sparkling water. Whatever the thing is, but you can have fun at home.
Why can't you play tic-tac-toe with yourself?
She can also get on TikTok and spend all
TikTok.
evening.
Man, I'm old school. I'm thinking tic-tac-toe, literally.
Okay.
X and O's, like playing that with yourself.
Yeah, with yourself, exactly. So
wait, not that. Are you thinking weird?
Apparently you are.
No, you are, because I can hear that in your tonation. You changed. I was literally talking about the game tic-tac-toe.
So was I.
Because I said X's and O's and then you changed.
Exactly.
Everything changed about you. Your whole aura changed.
Sure.
Yep. It shouldn't have, because that's not where this was going.
Si, senor. So, whatever the games, whatever the entertainment, the point is you at least keep all quarters of the year for yourself and you don't lose any time. So I agree. It's a good decision. Yes, I might sound old and crotchety, but I'm terrified of the alternative. So What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it definitely was a good decision, because that 3-month recovery, it sounds like it ruins that one evening that you have, so that you gotta take so long to get back just to regular. But I don't know. I think next year she should try to go out again and just not overindulge. Maybe since you took a break, just try not to. Just try to maybe just half it. So maybe it's just a month recovery, right?
I don't know what you're suggesting.
A third, maybe. Let's bring it down by a third, maybe. No, because let's try to still have some fun. But if you do have to indulge,
requires losing
bring it down.
Out of the year.
1 month, though. 1 month is the max that you can lose. Anything more than a month, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Not losing anything. No.
You don't want to lose just something. You want to give up a month for the evening of your life.
You know how much
you know what you gotta think about?
Grows in a month? No, time is precious. Like
you're out for the count. You don't know what's happening.
No, what do I look like? Sleeping?
But that is a problem too. If you're thinking from the parent perspective,
as a parent,
then you can't do that. Of course not.
Yeah, I can't afford losing 1 hour. What are you suggesting?
No, I mean obviously she's not or her kids
not
may be grown.
Yeah.
Well, not obvious, but hopefully her kids are grown, or she doesn't have kids, because otherwise,
and even then, grown children still want time with their parent. They don't want to be like, okay, I'll see you in 3 months.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when people go on cruise ships and they can't be reached. It happens. What if you went on a 3-month cruise?
That's much different than what you're suggesting. You're suggesting that she's in a coma. That is unacceptable because it's self-induced.
Come on.
Completely unacceptable.
That's the best stuff you say.
I don't know what you're suggesting, but the answer is no. I don't care what the question is.
Wow. All right. So you think recovery is a lot different than going on a cruise for kids, even for adult children. All right.
Yeah, I think that you should never be voluntarily losing time out of your life, because that is time that you can't get back. And if the only reason this is happening is because you party too hard, I'm sorry, but I know
you don't respect partying. You don't respect.
It's not that I don't respect partying. I don't respect the loss of time. That is the most offensive suggestion. Period. Because, like I said, there are people who have died who would have given anything to have time, and so for you to throw it away is just like spitting in the face of humanity.
What she did is she took all that time and condensed it into one evening. So that's why she had to make it up.
I don't care how good those Quaaludes are. No. The answer is no.
I know. I think it's a thing that you gotta try it, then you can really understand what people are going through.
I don't care.
I know. It's a thing where you have to be a part of the group.
In this scenario, I guess I'm the Grinch, and the answer is no. I lose that option.
Come on, not even giving her just a month. I mean, man, you say the month's not worth it. Okay, so you probably wouldn't even say a day would be worth it. Or the day would be okay, because at least
we've been there where we've in our younger years where we've overindulged, and then the next day there's a hangover, and I've never blacked out, but you can speak to your own narrative on that. And
I can speak to my own narrative. That's
I'm
a
not
good
going to
one.
speak for you.
That's a good one.
But, even having, thrown up and stuff like that, personally, I have felt ashamed. I have felt disgraced. It just was not, no bueno.
But we all use the restroom every day. You don't feel disgraced doing that?
But I'm not losing days in the bathroom.
Well, that's not true. How many hours in total we spend every year on the toilet?
You're disgusting.
Because there's time definitely wasted. But I'm just saying, humans are disgusting already. So it's like, what else did you not do?
But see how that's but it's broken out. But what if someone said to you, okay, you could have a really great night, but then you're going to have to spend consecutively 3 weeks on the toilet? You would be horrified. You would say, no, I don't want to sign up, please. No.
You're going to have some numb buns.
Exactly. You would fall over and die.
To just even sit on it is going to be tough.
Yes. And someone said you couldn't move. It's like, no. No, I don't want to do this.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't know. I think some people would take the challenge, to be honest.
Yeah, but then there's going to have to be some type of monetary payout for such challenge. Wow. They're not going to just do that for kicks and giggles.
No, you get the one night of whatever you want.
Your Quaaludes, and then you're going to go suffer like that?
Yeah, just for 3 weeks.
See, I don't know what this life is, but
I think people would do it, though, to be honest.
Nope. You couldn't pay me to do that.
I'd have to calculate what the pay would
Of course, well, you'll sell your soul.
I'd have to think about it for 3 weeks, man.
No.
Because, you're going to have so much numbness, and you're going to lose muscle. You're going to have the muscle atrophy. Yeah. It's going to be...
And what if it's the 3 weeks of you not just sitting, but it's actually purging for 3 weeks straight? So
what, are they going to give you, laxatives each hour?
Exactly.
They're going to pump it into your body.
You're going to lose skin in places that one should not lose skin.
Could you even live like that? I don't think you could keep going.
I think you would die. I think you would die.
Because then it strips you of all the nutrients.
Yeah, you can't.
You'd get really sick from that. That wouldn't be a good
really
thing.
Sick.
You can't do that to hospital purging. You could sit there, but you can't make them purge. They have to do that as they please. Yeah, you can't induce that. That's not going to work.
But see how we've lost control. The
It's a rabbit hole. Yeah. It's really far down and it's wild. But you see, I wonder what people would do, though. I bet you people still would want to do it. Just for that one night of anything they wanted. Anything.
Stop projecting your fantasies.
I didn't create the movie The Purge. I didn't write that movie.
Exactly. But you're really associating with that Wolf of Wall Street game.
This is not me. This is a scenario. This is a scenario for a specific character.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's not anything about me.
And thank God we are at that time again. It is coming to the end of our 279th episode of WokeNFree. Quite the episode discussing top 10 life lessons to apply in 2023. Khalil, what do folks need to do now?
Come back next week for the new WokeNFree Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, we are in a new year, so definitely submit your thoughts, your pitch for why you want to share your story with WokeNFree Nation on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. Now for social, again, you can always holler, follow, subscribe, all that good jazz on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokenFree. And all sponsorship and collaboration queries, find us on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokenFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.